So the next question is in regards to the use of music in yoga classes. And this is in no way meant to offend anybody. We have people who use music and some people who don't use music. But I just know that your perspective and within your perspective is different. And basically, you guys, I don't know if I would use the word recommend, but you don't use music.
Yeah, that is correct. I personally do not use music. That is a true statement.
Yeah. Is it taught? What's the teaching in yoga in terms of music? We know that it's kind of a modern thing in yoga to use music. I mean, maybe I assume that in the beginning they weren't using music in yoga classes, so it's kind of a Western trend maybe to use music in classes. Well, what's your take on that?
When you used the phrase in the beginning, and what popped up in my what popped up in my mind was in the beginning there was the word. And this is the problem with music in yoga classes, is that the primary tool you have as an instructor is your word. And that is how you move people into their own experience. And music does that as well. I think that there certainly are times and places to use music, even in yoga class. But any time when you have something that's competing for the auditory space of your students, some of what you're trying to communicate is getting lost. So if I'm trying to speak, and there's some sort of swell in the music that happens, people are divided. One very clear definition of yoga is yoga is moving toward one-pointed attention. And so if you have dueling auditory experience in a class, where like on one hand you're like, oh, I love this song. On the other hand you're like, what did you just say? Yeah. It becomes challenging for your students to move toward that one-pointed state of focus, peaceful internal state. And then there's the other very practical side of things where I might be in love with Black Sabbath, and think that that's the best music for my yoga class, and it's going to alienate some students.
Sure.
Some students aren't going to. Or Tibetan singing bells, or Enya, or whatever. I'm dating myself now. I'm realizing.
But people feel very strongly about music.
Yeah, it's polarizing.
Yeah.
It's polarizing, and your personal style will bring in people who have the same personal style, but they might not be served by your class, and it might alienate people who would be served by the practice you're offering.
Sure.
Just because they just can't stand.
Pearl Jam or something.
Yeah, Cat Stevens, whatever it is.
Very well said.
Thanks.
One more question.
Okay.
So sadly, you spent a chunk of the winter in Hawaii.
I know, it's so hard.
And regardless, you made the best of it, and you were working on a book. Is that correct?
I was.
Yeah.
Yay!
So how is that process going? I know that you're back on the mainland and you're probably slammed with all kinds of projects now. So, but you did make some progress on the book when you were there.
I did.
Yeah. How's that going?
Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah.
Right now, it is not going. Right now, it is sitting patiently on the back burner. But you're right. I've had this idea of doing a book. It's not really even exactly a book. It's more of a multimedia experience. And I've been having this idea popping up, just arising for maybe 6 or 7 years. And I just was lacking, as we've been talking about throughout this conversation, the flexibility of the yoga style makes it kind of difficult because you have to hone in. The structure itself doesn't give you any container, really. It's sort of like sky's the limit. So then it becomes your job as a teacher, or as a book writer in my case, to really focus in and to choose a direction for any kind of cohesive body of work. So that's what I wasn't sure about. I wasn't sure for a lot of years, what to include and how to do it. What I was clear on from the start was that I wanted to offer people experiences. There are a lot of wonderful books out there filled with well-crafted sentences and very meaningful philosophies, but I felt like I really wanted people to be encouraged to take the reins of their own practice, and to really step up and be able to practice a variety of different things, a variety of different tools, a variety of different techniques, but all in service of themselves. And just the structure was eluding me, and when I landed in Hawaii, Mother Moe helped me out, as she always does, and just immediately the right context for that project arose. And so I decided to create a series of practices that incorporate all different elements. They're what we call integrated practices. So they have movement, they have chant, they have breath work, they have meditation, they have personal ritual and prayer and intention setting. And I created a whole series of these practices all around accessing what I think of as sort of different flavors of the divine within all of us. And they're titled very clearly. There's like a practice for joy and cultivating joy, a practice for cultivating strength and peace, and so I titled them in kind of easy modern English ways. And my hope is that they are going to create just a beautiful mandala of personal practice for people out there, so people can walk their path with a little more juice. I see a lot of suffering. A lot of people not recognizing all that they are, and I really hope to open people up to who they truly are and what's out there. It's pretty astounding what we are.
Do you have a title?
Oof.
A working title?
Yeah. This is called the Vinyasa of titling the book.
Yeah.
So I had some ideas. I put them out to a bunch of students, and in classic Vinyasa fashion, I'll just say what became clear was that I haven't hit on the right one yet.
Gotcha.
Everyone liked different ones or hated different ones, or had questions about different ones. So I'm not sure yet.
Do you have a date in mind in terms of the release, or are you just kind of just going with the flow?
Yeah, life has been happening, big time in my world. So I'm sort of setting it out there for a year from now, thinking I should be able to do that.
Next trip to Hawaii, you should wrap it up.
Exactly, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. And wonderful people are popping out of the woodwork to support me, which is wonderful. So I have a great team amassing.
Awesome.
It's a big project.
Yeah.
And I know not of, producing projects like this. Yeah. It's exciting. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that sounds great. Look forward to it.
Thanks. I look forward to it too.
Yeah, nice to scratch that one off the list, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then get on to the next one. And then we have our project.
Our project, yeah.
Yeah. The program on adaptation and asana.
Adaptation and asana. That's kind of something you've been working with, adaptation and asana. You've done a workshop here. You're actually doing one at the Telluride Yoga Conference.
Yeah.
And that's the same theme.
Yeah, I'm teaching all of my class sessions I'm teaching at Telluride Yoga Festival in July.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Those guys are great. I like to give them some support. All three of my sessions I'm teaching are on adaptation in various ways. So one is on structural adaptation for upper body, structural adaptation for lower body, and then another one is on breath adaptation, which is really fun. Just when you think that it's safe to go back in the pool, your adaptations, then suddenly you can manipulate the breath in fun and exciting ways. So yeah, that'll be really fun.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks for the interview. This is a blast, as usual.
It's fun, yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Stay tuned and look out for that book, the new book coming out in 1 year.
Yeah.
We're going to hold you to that.
Okay.
And our program, Adaptation and Asana, who knows when we'll put that together.
Right.
It's slowly but surely coming together. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to post them down below. This is going to be on YouTube and it's going to be on our website blog, so post questions. We're happy to reply. And thanks again, and have a great training this weekend, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jake.